Anglophone versus Francophone thing is there's a lot of negatives.
Well, who knows? I am an Anglophone. I was born in Bamenda, or maybe I was born in Buea.
Yeah.
But somehow, maybe someday I might end up in Yaoundé. I might work in Yaoundé. I might work in government. I might work in a company which is located
in the French speaking
the
area.
French speaking areas.
It's very difficult to communicate with those people.
Yeah,
For
very
instance,
difficult.
you don't speak English.
Yeah.
You don't speak French and they don't speak
They don't
English.
speak English.
But they are gonna speak to you in French and they
Yep.
expect you to respond in French.
In French, yep.
Because to them, Cameroon is bilingual, so you should know
You
French,
should know French.
but they are not
They're
expected to know English.
which
You
is
get,
crazy.
which is crazy. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Reality on Repeat. My name is Bertain, and I'm your host. I just want to say thank you guys once more for tuning in. Thank you guys for continuously supporting us, for watching, sharing. And if this is your first time on the show, watching the show, please remember to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to follow our social media pages, Reality on Repeat _podcast. Today in the studio, I'm joined by no other person than an amazing friend. This is someone I've known for a while. He's very smart. And today we're going to be talking a lot of good things, interesting things. Hopefully he can share something interesting with you guys. Deland, welcome to Reality on Repeat.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you for inviting me on the podcast. Happy to be here. Happy to share my perspective, personal opinions, and also personal interactions when it pertains to the topic at hand. So glad to dive into the pod. So let's do it.
Yeah, we're gonna have so many amazing things to talk about. So, like I said, remember to share to your friends so they can join us and watch as well. We're not gonna have any icebreakers today, guys. And I'm just going to say, for those of you who have been with us from the beginning, as you can notice, we're in a new space, we're in a new studio. So hopefully now we can just keep curating more interesting topics, interesting content for you guys. And you guys should continue to enjoy the show and give us your opinions. So today we're going to be talking about Anglophone versus Francophone mentality. We're Cameroonians. We go to Cameroon. We have English speaking people. We have French speaking people. So we're going to be talking about the whole Anglophone versus Francophone mentality, how it affects us socially, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and start or you want me to start it.
I'll let you start.
Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and start it. First, I'm just going to say the whole Anglophone versus Francophone thing is there's a lot of negatives and there's a lot of positives. But I feel like the negatives do outweigh the positives, in my opinion. And I don't know about you guys, but I believe a lot of you could probably testify. I'm just going to go ahead and start talking about like the whole I want to say it brings a lot of bias. That's the first thing I'll say. It brings a lot of bias. And when I talk about that, I'll first of all talk about like the number one issue that we have in Cameroon, which is employment. That's what I don't know if it's the number one issue, but it's like one of the top issues we have in Cameroon. Employment. Youth employment is like very low. And then with the whole Anglophone and Francophone issue, there's a lot of bias in hiring. Because first off, we can agree that if you go to Cameroon, a lot of the open positions, a lot of the jobs, you have to go to like Yaoundé, Douala, which are pretty much like Francophone, French dominant areas for you to get a job. So for someone who graduates from like a university in Bamenda, university in Boya, university in an Anglophone region, and you don't have those opportunities, you have to go to like those regions to get a job. Yes. And when you go to those regions, guess what? There's obviously that bias because what your
last name,
your Anglophone,
Your
like
Anglophone,
they would usually say les Anglophones. Les Anglophones. So that's the first bias, and I
Mhm.
feel like that one it affects like Anglophones more.
Yeah, I it does really affect Anglophones more, because of really because of a language. One thing is also it's a language barrier we have to look into. Um, the fact that we were colonized by two
Two
different
countries.
countries
Yeah.
up till this day. Up to this day, it still creates a rift. It still creates there is still that sense of not just disconnect, but there is also that sense of perhaps not belonging, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And also the fact that Cameroon is the way Cameroon is today, which is a lot of I mean the way the constitution designed it, which is structuring power into Yaoundé, that essentially may create an unfortunate situation which we have today.
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean Anglophones tends to be the one really to be down, to be at the bottom
The
of
bottom of
at the
the
bottom of it, or the bottom of the food chain when it relates to that. um is your last name. Your last name is probably, it doesn't look like the one from that area. Boof, you probably
there's Anglophone.
it's Anglophone. So yeah, but it's honestly.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that that when I say that the opportunities is not just Anglophones who are affected
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
also
yeah, we do.
Francophones. When I talk about Anglophones, are mostly affected in the country, but
Yeah.
we will not ignore the fact that Francophones have like uh they have like a disadvantage
Mm.
when they travel outside the country because we can agree that English is like the majority
Spoken.
spoken
Yeah,
language
true.
around the world.
Yeah.
So that's why you notice that most Francophones they end up going to
France,
France.
Belgium,
Yes, like a
um,
French dominant. Some who go to Canada, they want to go to
German.
like
It's
Quebec.
Germany. There's also Germany. There's Portugal because they end up having to speak. How do they speak? They end up having to learn. You either have Alemán. I've forgotten the other one. Either you learn Alemán, which takes you to Germany, then or Espanol,
Yeah,
which takes you to, I believe it's Portugal or Spain. They have that extra advantage, whereas we don't. We end up being in the loop of English or French, English or French, and even still in that loop of English and French, we still always there is also a sense of downgrade, um, or a sense of not considering that. Well, who knows? I am an Anglophone. I was born in Bamenda, or maybe I was born in Buya, but
yeah,
somehow maybe someday I might end up in Yaoundé. I might
Yaoundé.
work in Yaoundé. I might work in
Yes,
government. I might work in a company which is located
located in in the French speaking
in the
area.
French speaking area. So because of that, I need to learn French. But we the Anglophones will never do that. It's always the idea of maybe someday I will fly out of the country.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think it's not even like we the Anglophones we never did that because it for me personally,
Mhm.
growing up we used to study French in I think it was like implemented that everybody has to learn French, and
Yeah,
I can swear that there were a lot of people who struggled with it. I don't know
they
if you
were.
could, if you did struggle with it and you can testify, just
Yeah.
let us know. I
Yeah.
remember like if I want to go back to the things people would write on their papers
Mhm.
when it came to French
Mhm.
growing up in Bamenda, because I went
Mhm.
to GBHS Bamenda, government bilingual high school, so they were teaching English and French. And if I go back to some of the stuff people were writing, oh my god, I don't know, because unfortunately you cannot blame them because you don't expect someone who grew up speaking English their
Yeah.
whole life, like they didn't have anybody speaking
Yeah.
English, and you expect them to just ace it in
There's it in
French,
French.
yeah,
Yeah.
on a French paper. What are they gonna write? That's like telling me right now I live in America and you have Spanish people
That's
speaking
Spanish
and you
food.
want me to
Yeah.
to go and write in Spanish.
Yeah, I mean it's the again, like I said again, it's that kind of laissez-faire mentality because it's not ingrained in us to be bilingual, right? I mean we do have we do have teachers back then who say, look, Cameroon is bilingual, or Cameroon is a bilingual
Bilingual, yeah.
country, or you will also have some members in government, the minister, and also sometimes too the president who always put out notices in both English and French. I think like is the fact that it is not it's not been enforced as a matter of necessity, but rather as more or less as a matter of choice, right? Uh, at least up until after you, because when you start from one, you starting from you all when you start elementary school in Cameroon, you are being taught French. You're taught French up until when you get to Form 5, right? And you are forced to register for French, but you are not forced to pass it. And exactly so because you're not forced to pass it,
You just register for
you
it
can
and
register and be like,
it
well,
is what it
it
is.
is what it is. Whatever comes out of it comes out of it,
Yeah.
right?
If I
Uh,
get it, if I get a C,
if I get a C, I get a C. If I get it, I get it. And I
yes,
believe it's also the same thing that happens with the other side with BPC, where I believe that you also do not have
to
to
pass
pass English,
English.
but you still have to take the classes.
Yeah.
And I used to have French. I used to have some because I grew up in Douala.
Yeah.
I went to school in Douala. Listen to Daido to be specific. I used to have a couple of my friends were actually in the French class, and so each time I went in there, this is between Form 1 and Form 4. Each time I went in there, it was they were always complaining. They were like, this English teachers, they don't want to do it. Like it's just too much. They cannot just wait to essentially write BPC
And
and
pass.
then not have to deal with it again, not have to
Yeah.
deal with English again. And when you came to the English side, you did have some Anglophones who essentially were on the pathway of adapting, right? Wanting to learn French, having discussions with other classmates in French.
Yeah.
And right now I'm thinking about it, I believe it was born out of a sense of survival and not necessarily a sense to want to know. Because you are in Douala, what do you have to lose, right?
Right.
Or what do you have to really gain if you don't have a decent French vocabulary? So, but even back to the point of wanting to even going abroad or the French also, some of our francophone brothers who end up traveling abroad, it ends up being Europe, or if we're talking about Americas, it will be Canada. Back then too, and it's still happening to this
To
day.
this day, I had a friend in when I just came here. I had a
Yeah.
friend. She was French speaking,
Mhm.
so she really struggled a lot. Like
Yeah.
she struggled a lot with school. She would come to work and it's like she's just like she should cry
It's just
because
I know.
she didn't know what to she didn't understand, like she couldn't pick up as fast as those
Yeah.
who were actually speaking English
Mhm.
because what she knew was French.
Yeah.
So that's like part of
I
like the
rem-
whole struggling.
I remember I think when I was in Form 2 or Form 3, vividly we had a one of our teachers had essentially told us that today we have a lot of Francophone Cameroonians, right?
Yeah.
Those who are natively they were born speaking French.
Yeah.
I mean, with their mother tongue, but French has been the core language that they were born speaking. But today, you find them in a lot of English classes. And what he had, you find them going through the English system of education. And what he had mentioned back then was that he said he was born out of he was born out of a sense of out of a sense of expanding your opportunities, because the French people, the Francophonians, they figured out that, well, if really we always speak French, if really we limit ourselves just to that French system of education,
Yeah.
once we are out of the country,
What do we do?
we are limited to where we can go to. So
Exactly.
therefore, what the parents were doing, which again is very smart, was essentially have their kids go
Go
through
to
that
English.
English year school, so that those kids, if the kids end up they end up if they end up in Cameroon, then they already have the French in them,
Yeah.
right?
Then
Even
they end up out of the
if they end
country.
up out of the country, they have that English education already in their pocket. So it makes their life very,
Easier.
very, very easy. Yeah, I do have a couple of my classmates with whom French speaking, born into French families. A couple of them are in this country today. They speak fluent English
Nice.
and fluent French. Like if you hear them speak, you will not even be able to differentiate where exactly from Cameroon they are from until they mention it. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna move on to like social media,
Mhm.
because that's another thing. I feel like every time we talk about something, we cannot ignore social media.
Mhm.
And first off, oh, I'm not even gonna start with social media. I'm gonna start with our music industry
Music
in
industry, yeah.
Cameroon.
Mhm.
That's something that it also affects. It also affects our music industry, because if you go to Cameroon now,
Mhm.
especially like the English speaking artists, I don't know about the French artists, but if you go to like the English speaking artists, they are forced to sing in like English
In English,
and French,
yeah.
because majority of Cameroonians are
French speaking,
French.
yeah.
So for those French people to jump on your track, you need to put some French. You need to
Mhm.
make them vibe with the song. So that's another thing, and that's why most of the artists who succeed in Cameroon, they do have to sing or rap in English and French, or maybe Pidgin and French.
Yeah.
Once you limit yourself to like English, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but once you limit yourself to like English, your market is
You have a smaller
you
market.
have a smaller
You have a
market.
smaller market.
Exactly.
You have a smaller
and
audience.
and still at that point, it still doesn't give you, because not every francophone is gonna still
Oh yeah, not
jump
every,
on that
oh yeah.
music compared to like other African countries where, like,
Mhm.
let's say everybody's speaking English. Now you have a larger
A
market
larger
to
margin, yeah.
market your music to,
Yeah.
or your content to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean it's, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing else you can do about it, right? You have to, you gotta do what you gotta do,
Yeah,
in order to put food on your table, right? It's, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, there are people who are going to criticize it, but then again, the artists really have to start. They have to start locally before moving out,
out. Yeah,
before moving out.
I
And
agree.
the francophones, I believe that the francophones essentially are much more, there is much more unity among them, right? Mm,
That part.
yeah, there's much more unity among them, and this is just not unity in Cameroon per se, but at least unity when it translates internationally,
Yeah,
right? For example, a francophone person who sings, a francophone person who sings or who raps in French is able to connect to the market in Cote d'Ivoire, to
facts.
the market in
Like
Gabon,
like Kosi, he
like
just he just collaborated with one artist in Ivory Coast.
exactly. So he has been able to transcend it. Whereas if you are just an Anglophone and then you stay with just Anglophone music, you are probably targeting Nigeria.
Nigeria, and Nigerians already have like
They
so many
already have
artists to
so many
collaborate with.
artists to collaborate with. They are, it's more of let's support our own first, again, which is not a bad thing, right? It's always good to, I mean, they say charity begins at
Strategy
home.
begins at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you cannot go out there helping a different person when you already have someone locally to support. So yeah, I mean, the Cameroonian Anglophone population is not that large. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that large. There is just so much that you can get out of it, and I believe that collaboration, being able to sing in French to being able to sing in French to gives the artist
A larger
a larger
audience.
audience, a unique, puts the artist in a unique playing field to not only grow, to not only adapt. I mean, being able to sing music that appeals both to English speaking folks and
And
French
French
speaking
speaking.
folks puts
Yeah.
you at a different height, because should there be, when a day comes tomorrow and it blows out for you, it goes big for you, guess what? your audience now automatically has grown, because I know just people who speak French listening to you, but also people who speak
English.
English too.
Yeah, and talking about that, I'm just going to add there was this flyer, there's this party, this all white party that Francophones organize. And I saw the flyer last time and they said, was it they specifically said all white Francophone Cameroon party, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, you see, that's what I'm saying. Like this whole Anglophone and Francophone thing is just dividing us more than it is
Yeah.
actually bringing us together. It's
Yeah.
like the French Cameroonians are like a different part,
Yeah.
and then the English Cameroonians are like a different part, which is not supposed to be
not
like
supposed
that.
to be that.
Yeah, so the party is usually hosted in the DMV, so they were like French Cameroon, something like
Cameroons,
that.
yeah.
By the way, just to let you guys know, there's the Machala versus Shakewalk game coming up May 23rd to May 25th in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. All is for everybody. All Cameroonians are invited. Africans, if you want to come, have fun with us. Remember to just grab your jerseys. If you go on IG, Machala versus Machala underscore Shakewalk, I think that's the handle. DM the Instagram page, grab your jersey, and come. Let's have fun. It's for everybody, Anglophone, Francophone. But I was just pointing out, like, that's an instance of like where you see, like, because someone who sees it like that will be like, "You're Anglophone." You won't want to go there
You want to go there, yeah.
and shy with everybody.
Yeah, you
Abi.
won't. Yeah, it's I mean, it's the I'll probably say unfortunate situation. Again, we were colonized by two countries, right? And for the period of time that we were separated for, I believe is I think about 40 years or so. That essentially created those stark differences where the English Cameroonian folks relate more to the Nigerians, and the French Cameroonian folks relate more to the Ivorians. I remember doing I believe that was during the AFCON last year.
Yeah.
When you had Cote d'Ivoire playing against Nigeria,
Yeah.
you literally had the
French.
the English voting for Ivory Coast to win.
Yes.
Because they didn't like Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria had eliminated Cameroon, and so it was a rift in on social media. Then you had the French
who
were rooting for Nigeria because of what Ivory Coast was saying to them about Cameroon.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things. It was. I mean, it was a very crazy frenzy to watch on social media. But it was really good.
No, it was good. I remember it.
I loved it. I love every bit of it.
Yeah, it was good.
So,
it was good.
You know,
the TikTok videos and everything.
They were going up. They just, as long as Ivy Coast did not win, that was all that mattered to them. So
facts. Have you ever had experience with this Francophone police in let's say an Anglophone region?
Francophone police.
This French police, like this army, this police army people they usually send to like Anglophone. Have you ever had experience with them?
I have never. In the English zone, I have never. Even in the French zone, I have never.
Yeah.
I guess I would probably call it chaotic though, but the most I've really had is getting stopped at the police checkpoint, and then having to show ID card and then letting go. It has never been.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because anybody who has had experience with them can tell. Those guys are, I don't know, it's like they get trained. The ones who get sent to like the English regions, they are a different breed. When they want to arrest you at night, if you don't have your ID card, it's like Monte. Those guys are wild. I don't know if they do that in the French regions. I mean, I've never had. Fortunately for me, I've never had experience with them.
Yeah.
But I know that those who have had experience talking to them, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
the way they talk to you when they want to. But don't be that unfortunate person and forget your ID card at home.
Yeah.
They will not tell you. They no go tell you.
Yeah. It will be all Monsieur, vous n'avez pas votre carte d'identité. Montez.
Monte.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and that's like, and sometimes even it's not even like you don't have your ID card because it's very difficult to communicate with those people.
Yeah, it's
For
very
instance,
difficult.
you don't speak English.
Yeah.
You don't speak French and they
Mm-hmm.
don't speak
They don't
English,
speak English.
but they are gonna speak to you in French and they
Yep.
expect you to respond in
In
French
French. Yep.
because to them Cameroon is bilingual, so you should know
You
French,
should know
but
French.
they are not
You're not
expected to
expected to
know
know English,
English.
which
You
is
get,
crazy.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
So when they are talking to you, if you don't understand what they are saying or you're trying to respond in English,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You're fucked.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
it's gonna be a crazy night for you.
It's gonna be a crazy night. I believe too again that it should be trickled down, right? I mean, Cameroon being again back again to the point where it's not being enforced, right? We are you said that well, English and French, right?
Yeah.
You are allowed to know either languages and then you succeed as fine. Again, relative again, dependent to where you are at. But then again, it's not enforced, and I also believe that people in such positions should be, to some degree, be able to understand even if let's say it's a French speaking guy, right? He should to some degree be able to understand English at least to some just to at least have
Have
a decent conversation,
conversation.
right?
Even if he's not even going to like respond to you in
Respond to
English,
you in
he
English,
should
yeah.
understand
He should understand
what
you're
you're
saying.
saying.
Yeah,
You get,
yeah.
but they don't understand what you're saying, and those
Mm-hmm.
guys just get stationed
Yeah.
there, like do whatever the
Do
f you
what
want
you
to do
can
with
do.
them.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So it's just a crazy experience to have, to be honest. Like that's an experience you don't want to have with them francophone police. Is like they're another breed.
No, I've not had experience with them. Experience has already been driving in Cameroon. It's a crazy mess. It's a crazy mess. You are trying to cut through. You're trying to do the right thing, and then someone is just yelling at you.
Driving in
Que
Douala,
que
Yaoundé.
alebe ta vie carapace là en route. Oh
Driving in
man.
Douala, Yaoundé is for people who are
Oh yeah.
you need to be another
Yeah.
level of driver. You need to be
Driver,
at that
yeah.
stage 5
Yeah.
for you to drive in those cities.
I remember I was a couple of years ago, I was talking to my uncle. And my uncle was like when he first moved to Yaoundé,
Yeah.
when he first moved to Yaoundé from Bamenda, he thought that okay, that this is the capital of the country. So there are going to be a lot
Wherever move
more
to your
civilized people in
yeah.
here. And he's driving, he's trying to be nice on the road,
Oh.
he's trying to be nice and all that thing. Oh man, he was like, it didn't take up to 72 hours, and they flipped the switch.
Oh,
He said he doesn't care.
you have to go. You have to. I say this. I always say for you to drive in Yaoundé and Douala, you have to act crazy.
Crazy, oh yeah.
My uncle was the one who taught me that.
Oh yeah.
And whenever I'm driving, I don't play with those people.
Oh, yeah.
When you want to act crazy, I'll act crazy.
Mhm.
I'll insult the hell out of you. I'm sorry, I should not be doing it, but it's just how you have
It's
to
just
act.
how it. No, I mean, they like to have they like to have brute force, right? They like force. You cannot bring softness into the game. I'm gonna boot you out again. So
That's why I always say like francophones, right? Like francophones,
Mhm.
they are street smart. They are wild.
yeah, why?
They are wild.
Mhm.
But anglophones are kind of calm.
Yeah.
But they are those type of people like they are the machine gurus.
The machine gun
Then guess people. While francophones are those street smart people. So
smart, yeah.
when you're out there in that street, you have to be wild to
Mhm.
actually survive.
Mhm.
Survive it.
I
An
remember.
anglophone person will be nice with you, calm with
Yeah.
you, but then he's just studying you, and that's his own way of.
Yeah.
But a francophone person, they are
So-
ready to.
You are right. I remember a couple of years when I was in the city there, I was in Form 5 at the time.
Yes.
It was the 11th February week. I forgot how they call Vasca week actually. Rascal
That
Week.
was okay. Rascal Week is usually
I
before.
think it's before 11 February.
No,
Yes.
before school
Before school
closes.
closes.
When they don't you don't have any classes
Okay.
anymore. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, you are right.
Right. Yeah,
So
Rascal
it
Week is
was a
before
week.
school closes
It was that week of 11 February. Actually, was doing
when they
that
are doing
max
match practice.
practices and all the rest. There's not a lot of movement going on in school.
Yeah.
So mind you, school I went to the city there, though, if you have been in Douala, you know it is one of the worst places to go to. Or
Yeah.
it's a lot of craziness going
Crazy
on.
people.
Crazy people, yeah.
Yeah.
Right opposite the school there is a police station just to tell you how bad it is.
Yeah.
So I'm in class. This is after, so school was done that day. We got done with school that day pretty early. So it's about 4 or 5 p.m. I'm just seated in class with two or three of my classmates at the time. So we're just discussing. We're just talking. And then this guy gets into class. So we used to call them back then the gun boy. This guy gets into class. He gets into the class there. It was him and some other dude. And so he comes to us. So immediately we saw him again. We just knew that this was bad news.
Yeah.
So he started asking that petit frère, vous avez quoi pour moi? So the guy that my friend at the time, one of my very close friend at the time, turned to the guy and was like, and he mentioned some other person's name to the guy, and the guy was
Okay, like trying to tell him
yeah,
like
he was like,
I have my own big
yeah,
too.
yeah. He was like, vous connaissez tel. I've forgotten the name he had mentioned, and so the guy responds that pretty fair. Tu veux me montrer que tu le connais? Moi ici, il te demande que bon, vous avez quoi à me donner? Et toi, tu me poses les questions. My friend addressed it and was like, grand frère, je n'ai rien. Like, grand frère, je n'ai rien. My friend pulls out money for transportation.
Yeah.
I believe it was like 100 francs CFA. And then straight to the gang. This is all I got. And so the guy lets him be. He turns to me. When he walks to me now, I'm like, I tell the gang that honestly, gang, I don't live in Daido here. I live in Bonaberry, and it will cost 150 francs to
For me to
go
go back.
across the bridge and
Yeah.
go home. So the guy, then I took out a 150 from my chest pocket. I showed it to him. Voilà mes 150. And he looked at it and he's like, okay, pas de problem. He lets us be. And then the other three people in the class, forgot, I can't remember. I don't think he had asked them anything, but he interacted with us and didn't say anything until he left. So when he left now, I went away. Then later on, I was like, luckily that I had sewn a pocket on my school trouser. So my school trouser had an inner pocket in it,
Yeah.
which could only be accessed
From inside.
So I would have to fold the pocket for you to see it. In there, I kept my valuables. If I had a phone on me, I put it in there. If I had large sums of money, I put in that pocket. So that if they come, and because that guy literally came when he asked for the money. I showed him the 150. He told me to stand up, and then he tapped,
charged you.
yeah, he tapped me to see if
You have
to see if
anything
I have anything else. And unfortunately for me, nothing came out. So it's that is those are some of the things that which you had to do in order to
in order to
survive
survive.
that environment,
Yeah.
right? I also remember too, in that school too, was crazy because you could literally have an issue in school with somebody, and right after class they will hold you out of the gate, beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, francophones are
Bro.
always ready to. They are just
Yeah.
ready to go.
They-
You cannot even have like that
Mhm.
negotiation with them. No, it doesn't work. They are ready to go. I mean, I feel like even in like Anglophone regions, they will
They do.
usually fight, but it's kind of different. I mean, they are not really that
I
wild.
don't think Anglophones get as crazy as Francophones get, right? I don't believe it gets to that point. When I was in school there, we used to have a lot of fights, a lot of the crazy fights. It came from the French side, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that all of them were crazy. It doesn't mean that you will not probably find an Anglophone or two in their
We're
midst,
crazy.
right? But a lot of it came from that end. I remember I was in Form 5. This is when we were writing GC. We were about to write GC. So my chemistry teacher at the time came to school with a walking stick, and I was like, "What happened?" He fall down the stairs. That was when someone had explained to us that, wow, one of those francophone guys did not like him, did not like how he spoke to them. So over during the holidays, they beat him up. They beat him up. we even had a time
God.
where we even had a time when I was in opposite, and so this is a busy morning. I'm getting into the school campus, and then so I'm walking to the school campus. I get into the central fee in the school, which was the basketball field. And while there, I saw my chemistry teacher essentially beating up a francophone student because the student had triggered him and had thrown
The
the
first
first
punch.
punch. Yeah, he went all out.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he went all out. So I mean, it's just one of those um
Instances
just
where they
instances. Yeah,
get crazy.
they
Yeah,
get
but
crazy.
enough of like the negatives, maybe for
Hmm.
now. What are some of the positives of like this Cameroon being bilingual, having Anglophones and Francophones?
Yeah, I believe many of those who I interacted with when I was in secondary school,
Yeah.
they were francophone Cameroonians, right?
Yeah.
So francophone speaking Cameroonians. Um, a lot of them were they were nice people. A lot of them too were very smart. I remember that, very smart. We was between from one.
Were they like both Anglophone, like they speak English and French?
They spoke English and French.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
they spoke English and French. They again, it was again back again to that advantage which their parents had given to them, right?
Yes.
They spoke English. They spoke the French at home a lot. Even while in school, they also spoke the French, but because they were going through that English section, it provided them with that extra advantage, right? To be able to not only have English under their belt, but also have French
French.
under their belt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very smart. A lot of them too were people I will interact with for study classes, study sections. Study sections will be in there studying maths, physics, chemistry, all those kind of things. So the bilingualism in Cameroon essentially brought that, because if we didn't have bilingualism in Cameroon, or if we maybe it was just a French speaking part, we will probably not see that, right? We'll probably not have that.
Yeah.
Then we also have the social effect, which is the French Cameroonians tend to be more I guess socially um than
You,
the
you
Anglophones are.
think so?
Well, at least back then that was what I saw it to be,
I think
right?
Anglophones are very social,
Yeah,
actually.
I mean it's now.
Yeah, Anglophones, to me, Anglophones are very social. They like being out there. They
Yeah,
like joker, everything.
I do.
Like the life of the parties. I mean, not get me wrong, Francophones they
Yeah,
like to enjoy as well, but Anglophones as well they enjoy. I
they
just feel
do.
like they both have like their own ways in which they enjoy.
They're always saying they enjoy.
But
Yeah,
yeah, in my opinion, in the positives, I feel like the first of all, like I said, there's a lot of negatives compared to the positives,
yeah.
but a lot of the positives comes if you can balance the English and French. If you can speak both
Speak
languages,
both languages.
obviously,
Yeah.
that's where you will definitely enjoy the benefit of like being a
Mm-hmm.
Cameroonian or not just being an Anglophone or Francophone. And I'll speak for instance, someone like myself.
Yeah.
My mom is Francophone, my dad is Anglophone, so I had the opportunity to like grow up in an English speaking
Mm-hmm.
region and I also stayed in a French-speaking French-speaking region
Mhm.
where I was able to learn how to talk French.
Yeah.
So going back to school, I had that advantage over my peers or my classmates where when it came to French, I could speak it. It was like one of those bonus subjects for me.
Bonus
I was
illness,
just
yeah.
like, okay, just acing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like that's one of the advantage. And it also opens up opportunities for you in the sense,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, someone who speaks just English will not wake up one day and be like, I want to go to Paris, except that's their only option.
Option,
If
yeah.
you were given the option to go to maybe France earn earn maybe $5,000, and you're given the option to go to maybe the US and earn maybe $4,000, that person who speaks just English will probably say, I'll go to the US because I
Yeah.
speak just English.
Mm-hmm.
But the one who speaks just French would want to go maybe to only France. But if you speak both languages, you have that opportunity, you have that advantage where you can take advantage of, and you can go to wherever you want to go to, French
Yeah.
speaking region, English speaking French speaking country, English
English speaking
speaking
country,
country,
yeah.
because you already speak both
English
languages.
speaking
It's easier
languages,
for you
yeah.
to adapt. It's easier for you to communicate and everything. And also another advantage I feel like is like, and this is for like the artist wise, like I said, it
Yeah.
limits them, but it also is also an advantage
Advantage
because
on it, yeah, true.
when you can sing in both languages, guess what? You can collaborate with someone. If you take someone like Kosi now, and you he collaborated on a song with Pato Ranking,
But
right?
donkey, yeah.
And that song is booming in Nigeria like
Yep.
hell. I had one of my friend who is Igbo, and when I played that song and I told him that this is an artist from my country, he was like, he thought it was an Igbo song
Yeah.
because Igbo people like it.
Yeah.
The no credit for
Mm.
my, he thought it was an Igbo song, and then Kosi still went and collaborated with a French
Collaborated with
artist.
French artists, yeah.
So that's an advantage that he has.
Yeah.
You get, so at the end of the day, I feel like the most advantages that the only way that Cameroon will be advantageous to most people as a bilingual country is if you take advantage of the fact that English is being taught in Cameroon, French is being taught in
Then
Cameroon,
come
and
on.
you learn both
You learn both
languages,
languages, yeah.
it will help you a lot
Yeah. You don't take it
as an option.
as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe one of those ways is like making it such a way that people have to pass.
Yeah.
Maybe not making it so difficult, but at least make it in such a way that people have to pass the basics.
Yeah, I mean making it I mean enforce people passing it, right? Enforce maybe enforce even competitions, right? In French, and then have English speaking folks be able to go through that, or
I
English
feel like
competition.
they had stuff like that. They had stuff like that. It's just that at the end of the day, usually the prices are just crazy, man. It's not encouraging.
Yeah, I know it's not encouraging. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really again, it's really step back again to the fact that it is an option, right? Because I know that you don't have to pass French for to pass ordinary level.
Yeah.
You all you need is 4 papers, right? You just need 4 papers, and it could be you don't even need to pass English too. Pass to able to pass ordinary level.
True. True.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it being that option, or it being an option, um it's limiting again. But the smart ones and those who understand world dynamics will usually learn both, or their parents will essentially enforce it so that they can learn both. Because really too, I also believe that if the it I also w- believe that the government cannot do it, or it will take time before the government does it. But the parents could begin to enforce some of those things. But for the parents to enforce it, it will also mean there will also be a need for the parents to know, or for the parents to put in the effort to know,
Yeah.
so that they could ingrain it into the child.
Sure.
Probably start speaking English and French at home, um, so that the child grows up grows up with it.
Yeah, I agree. But well, I just want to say at the end of the day, Cameroon is just more. It's just it's just better if we don't have this a whole identify yourself as francophone,
Yeah.
anglophone, and just coming together as one Cameroon.
Yeah.
That's the only way where we can be better, we can be stronger as a country, and we
Yeah.
can go further. Because people just being like, I'm anglophone, I'm gonna do what anglophones do, francophone, I'm gonna do what francophones do. At the end of the day, it's very difficult.
It's
Like I
very
said, it's
difficult.
very
Yeah.
difficult. But if we at least try, we can get there. That's all I'm going to say. At the end of the day, it's just about trying. Another one is this whole 300 and how many languages that we have in Cameroon. I don't know where. I don't know why a country of 24 million population has 300 and something languages. Like,
Man,
is that I'm not going to go too deep into that,
you
but
have
I'll just
to.
leave it at that. I still cannot wrap my head around. I mean, at the end of the day, it's nice to be diverse.
Yeah.
I respect everybody's language. That was not we didn't choose
Mhm.
to have those many languages, but like I said,
For that,
it's just crazy. It's just a lot. It's just
for
dividing
that,
us more and more.
you have to blame the ethnic founders.
I know. I will blame those ones.
Yeah.
I will blame those ones. But yeah,
Yes.
let's all just put all this anglophone francophone thing aside
Yeah.
and just
And
be one Cameroon, in my opinion. Promote each other.
Yeah.
Promote each other. Francophones promote anglophones, anglophones promote francophones. That's the
Yeah.
only way we come together, especially us, the youths,
Mm-hmm.
build a better Cameroon.
Yeah, be the better Cameroon. I mean, I believe that we are stronger in unity, right? There's a lot that we could learn from each other in a way to better progress our country. There are things that which we could do as those as citizens, as youth,
Yeah.
in order to push Cameroon, in order for to push Cameroon forward, right? There are people in the diaspora or those on ground in Cameroon to
Yeah.
push it forward, to
Make it better.
make it better, to change the narrative, right? Because if we begin to change the narrative now, and then when some of the youths begin to get into power, some of these ideas now, they could essentially legislate some of these ideas,
Facts.
which would go
Facts.
further to not only making the country better, right, for some, but it will make it better for every Cameroonian.
Facts. I agree. The youths needs to start getting in power because we are tired of the youth in our country. We are tired of the current youth, but it is what it is. I'm just yeah. But well, thank you guys once more for staying with us. We've come to the end of our episode. Before we round up, I'm just going to say, starting today, we're gonna be seeing a lot more of Deland as well. We're gonna be doing a lot more episodes, but that doesn't mean we're still gonna have our guests and all of that. So if you did enjoy the video, remember to share the video, like the video, subscribe, and please let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Going forward, we're also going to be doing a lot of trending topics, especially in Cameroon, amongst us Cameroonians. Like I always say, we're Cameroonians, so most of the time we're always going to talk about Cameroon. So we're going to be doing a lot of trending topics as well. So let us know. And if you have any ideas as well you would like to share with us, you can also send us an email. I'm gonna be attaching that to our social media handles as well. Reality on repeat reality on repeat 29 at gmail.com. I'm sorry. I always keep on going to the Instagram handle. But thank you guys once more, and thank you, Deland, for hopping on here.
No worries. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to the viewers watching. Also, too, I know Bado already said it. We have a Machala Shake Walk match coming. I don't know. If you miss it, that's on you, but it's gonna be very fun. It's going to be a different board game, a different vibe. We go through a lot in this country, so take it as a week to come and decompress.
Yes, it's on. Remember, it's on the May 20th weekend, so that's our own May 20th celebration. Independence Day celebration for us in the diaspora. So if you live in the US, come out, let's have fun. Cameroonian, it doesn't matter if you're francophone, anglophone, come out there, let's have
Yeah.
fun. And see you guys May 23rd to May 25th in Columbus, Ohio.